Yes.
So we have 1 hour and 15 minutes. Itaisha 11:45 sharp. So last Sabbath tuliangalia kwa ufupi ndani ya chapter 3. Tulisoma ndani ya chapter 3. He uses the civil power to enforce religious sanctions. Anatumia nguvu za kiserikali enforce a law that is religious in nature. Because the law was, wakati mtakaposikia sauti zile zeze, zumari, hizo muziki, kila mmoja na ainame na religious issue. But now, the law is that whoever shall not fall down and enter into this false worship, which is idolatry, which is against God. Whoever shall not fall down and enter into idolatry shall face a death penalty. Okay? Death penalty by sio? Mungu alisema atawishwa ndani ile tanuru ya moto. This is a religious issue. He uses his civil power and forces a death penalty. So, state and the church and the nation. Okay? And whenever there is a state and church combination, this one always overpowers this.
What is happening with that?
The president cannot fight religious leaders. The president cannot fight religious leaders and win. But the religious leaders can fight the president and win. Okay? So whenever there is a state and church combination, the church will always overpower the state. Whenever they come together. Because here there is an influence above human power. Whether either it is a godly influence or a satanic what?
Influence.
So the state can never win this war. The state cannot win against the war. And the state cannot win
Satanic.
in its own capacity. Okay? So actually Satan is called the prince of this world. He governs the states of this world. So that was in Daniel chapter 3. And in the same capacity, also in our days, there's going to be a similar scenario happening in our times. And in our times, we saw that there is a law that is coming. And this law is about worship. But that law is about also worship. And it will be enforced by the governments. And there will be a death watch. Okay? But we saw that God does what? God intervenes for his speech. Actually, if he cannot intervene, then no one can survive. Because Satan is like a lion, very fierce lion. So, but in this, yes, when these people face the death penalty, God intervenes. Now, the false worship idolatry was targeting. Who was it targeting? It was Satan using this religious arm, Babylon, to target God's people. Because we saw that idolatry was a known issue in Babylon. Okay? Idolatry was very normal in Babylon. So, this law of idolatry to Babylonians, had nothing. Actually, it was just okay for them. But because God's people, the Jews, were in captivity in Babylon, then this law was affecting them. Because for them, the Jews in Babylon, they were not worshipping idols, but they were worshipping the God of heaven. But for Babylonians and other kingdoms of the world, idolatry is something normal for them. So it did not target them, but it was Satan through Babylon, through Nebuchadnezzar, targeting God's people. So these things, when they happen, it is just showing us what will happen in our time. So similarly, we are at a risk of the reputation of being civil and religious power combining forces, okay, and they come out with a commandment. So in our time, we saw that the risk we are facing is about what? This is mass of the beast. Okay? This is the crisis of our time. This is the crisis that we are looking for. And when we talk about mark of the beast, which false worship comes with the mark of the beast. It means we must understand who the beast is, and we must understand what the mark is. So, for the beast, we see that the beast in Revelation chapter 13, verse 1 and 10, who is the beast? Purpose, yeah. But now, see that the beast in Revelation chapter 13, verse 10, has also two aspects. It has some civil nature and some nature. Okay? So, by the virtue of being a beast is a kingdom led by a king, or by a leader. But by the virtue of having a blasphemous name on the forehead, it has some religious
aspect.
So the beast in Revelation chapter 13 has some civil characteristics because it's a beast, and because it carries the names of blasphemy. Blasphemy is it is against God. Anything that is against divine nature has some religious aspect. So the beast is a combination of a religious and a civil power. But now, purpose is the heart of it. It is led by purpose. Okay? So, and what is now the mark of papacy? When you talk about papacy, it is simply Roman Catholicism, because we only have popes in Catholics, and for a very long time, Rome has been controlling the world. Has been controlling the world. From which year? Rome.
From 168.
Yeah?
168.
168 before Christ. That is before the birth of Christ. Before Christ. 168 BC. Rome has been controlling the world, starting with pagan Rome, which embraced paganism. And then when this pagan Rome ikazivalia vazi la Kikristo, ikakuwa
Papa Rome.
being led by papacy. So it is just still the same pagan, but has some characteristics of Christianity. Pagan Rome embraces Christianity.
Papa Rome.
Papal Rome, being led by papacy. And this is what exists even up to today. Roman Catholicism, or the Catholic Church, being led by papacy, but still has all its aspects of paganism. Today, Catholic is not different from the paganism of the past, because if it is idolatry, it is there. So there are idols there, and people worship idols. Idols of Mary, idols of Joseph, and what. So idolatry is still there. If it is worship of the dead, is it still there?
Yes.
Yes. Still worshiping, talking to the dead. The worship of the dead is still there. So all these aspects of paganism, okay? Observance of heavenly
Bodies.
heavenly bodies, celebrations, like Christmas, okay?
Like Easter.
Easter.
Right.
These were attached to even Sunday itself.
Yeah.
Was attached to sun worship. Easter, Queen of Heaven. Semiramis, okay? It's like the moon. Actually, Monday was given as the second to Sunday. And we have also Easter holidays for Queen Ishtar, Semiramis, Ashtore is the same person. Christmas was now the birth of their son.
Yeah.
Tammuz, born on 25th of
December.
December. Okay. So these pagan festivals are still there. This pagan worship is still there. But now it has been blended with Christianity. And that is why actually the papacy, the Bible calls papacy mystery of
Iniquity.
and all the way from paganism to Papal Rome. It is a mysterious entity, mystery of iniquity. Mystery is something ambayo hata hieleweki, ya ajabu sana. And that is why even today papacy, if you say papacy is bad, actually might be strong. Serious. Because we see that the popes are so good. Akikuja hapa Kenya, tunasalimia watoto vizuri sana. Tunawasalimia kama ni suti amebeba, wapatie, he embraces them. Okay? But there is a lot of mystery behind the scenes. There's a lot of darkness behind the scenes. Okay? So that was the time of Babylon, and in our time, the civil arm and the religious arm is intertwined in Roman Catholicism, especially during the Dark Ages, when papacy used the religious arm, the civil arm, support from France,
Yeah.
especially from France, and the other
Nations.
other nations, Germany, Portugal, Spain,
Switzerland.
England, okay, used the civil arms of these countries to control, okay, and then afterwards, he sends the Jesuits still to enter into the arms of government. And they came as missionaries, they came as colonialists, okay? And they entered into the arms of government. And even they are in the arms of the government. They control from the government. But we cannot see them by naked eyes. Unless God reveals to us how it works, we can never see it. Okay? We can only see it as a church, but that church controls the government as well. So, we'll talk about the mark of the beast. Now, Roman Catholicism, which is the beast. Roman Catholicism is a combination of civil and religious power. The religious side, we see it all over, but he also controls the civil power. The Jesuits have entered into all arms of civil, whether it is through courts, whether it is in the armed forces, whether it is in education sectors. They are all over. Okay? So, the mark. The mark is simply what? What is the mark, Ahmed? Mark. Mark is a sign. So sign or mark is the day of worship. Just like also God has his sign. Ezekiel. Also, Exodus.
31 verse 16.
31 verse
16 and 17.
13 downwards.
Yeah.
So God's sign is
Sabbath.
it's a day. Moreover, I gave them my Sabbaths to be a sign between
Me and them.
that they may know that I am the Lord that
Sanctify them.
Tena naliwapa sabato zangu ziwe ishara.
Kati ya mi.
A sign. Ziwe ishara. Is a sign. Hiyo ishara kati yangu na wao, ili wapate kujua mimi ndiye Bwana niwatakasa. So this sign is what identifies God and these people. And on this day, it is a day of sanctification. It is a day of refreshing. Tena kuoga unasikia aje after a long day. You feel you have been refreshed. Serious. So after a whole week, Sunday to Friday, of activity, of meaning, it's like you go to the bathroom. The Sabbath day, and you're washed, and you feel refreshed. So it is a day of sanctification. It is a day that is holy, and God has set it aside to refresh His people, to sanctify His people. Okay? So if we don't accept this day, will we be refreshed, woman?
No.
And there will be no sanctification. Okay? So it is an important day. So God has His day. And Satan also has his counterfeit. Sabbath. And this counterfeit Sabbath of Satan is which day?
Sunday.
So we saw that in Revelation chapter 13, verse 1 and 2,